Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS news for Monday, March 2. Jamaica's tourism industry continues to grow despite mega disruptions in the travel sector in 2020. The first 2 months have recorded growth of about 3% when compared to the same period of 2019. That's about 20,000 more visitors than last year. January grew by more than 4%, while February's up by approximately 2%. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the figures are encouraging.
To grow at all in this atmosphere is significant. And I really want to commend the team for the work that they're doing to keep the destination still, center and top of mind in the market, despite the disruption that the coronavirus is causing.
He says the country, through the Global Resilience and Crisis Management Center, will continue to forge international partnerships to manage stopovers to the island. Mr. Bartlett was speaking with JIS News on Saturday at Jamaica Rum Festival at Hope Gardens in St. Andrew. He says the tourism ministry will continue to collaborate with health and wellness to protect the country and manage the response against any case of the COVID-19 or novel coronavirus.
To build the infrastructure where if it comes, we will be able to manage it and to recover quickly from it.
The University of the West Indies is launching a task force to assist with the mobilization of the region's public health providers to deal with COVID-19, also known as the novel coronavirus. Vice-Chancellor of the UWI, Professor Sir Hilary Beckles, says the purpose is to provide the necessary scientific data on the virus and to work with government colleagues in creating an effective communication strategy for the region. The task force will be chaired by UWI Professor Clive Landis, Pro-Vice Chancellor for Undergraduate Studies and former Director of the George Allain Chronic Disease Research Center. Members are drawn from the regional UWI medical faculties, as well as external experts experienced in the laboratory and field deployment of an active scientific approach. Gender Minister Olivia Grange says government is working to have the sexual harassment bill passed into law by the second half of this calendar year. During a function on Friday, Minister Grange encouraged all Jamaicans to contribute to further strengthening the legislation.
We want to hear from more stakeholders. The process is to make your submissions to Parliament, your written submission, and then you will be invited to make an oral presentation. And I'm using this opportunity to encourage everyone who is in a position to do so, both at your personal level and in representing your organization.
The minister was addressing a function during which government signed a memorandum of understanding with the University of the West Indies Open Campus. It's to facilitate training and research on sexual harassment in the workplace and related matters over the next 3 years.
We aim to have in place the legal framework to regulate workplaces by insisting that employers create an environment that is free from sexual harassment, provide comprehensive sexual harassment policies to guide their organizations, and importantly, take immediate and appropriate action to deal with the allegations of sexual harassment when they arise.
The sexual harassment bill outlines and prohibits the types of conduct that constitute sexual harassment. It was tabled in the House of Representatives by Minister Grange in July last year. A joint select committee of Parliament has since been appointed to consider and report on the bill, as well as to hear inputs from organizations and individuals about how to make the law better and more meaningful. By year's end, the court system will be equipped with technology to facilitate the delivery of transcripts within days. Portfolio Minister Delroy Chuck says the technology will save resources and enhance the security of the justice system.
Once we can use this new technology, then there's no doubt that our cases can be completed in a timely manner, that the resources of the state, where we spend money, so much money for security, for paper, and for many other unnecessary issues, that can be saved and more, it can be utilized much better than we are now doing at this time.
Minister Chuck was speaking recently at the National Conference on Technology in the Justice System. He said an improved audiovisual system, sponsored by the European Union, would soon be unveiled in all courts. The Integrated Resource Plan (IRP) will see approximately $7.3 billion being invested in Jamaica's electricity sector by the year 2037. Energy Minister Favour Williams says $2.3 billion of this amount will be used to replace old plants. She was addressing United States representatives and members of the regional energy sector at the 4th Energy Climate Partnership of the Americas ECPA ministerial meeting.
The country will be taking on 320 megawatts of solar and or wind, 120 megawatts of LNG, and 74 megawatts of hydro, waste to energy, and or biomass between now and 2025. And these numbers have been approved by the Cabinet. If we take a look at the longer plan, the 20-year plan, we see an additional 1,260 megawatts of wind and or solar, 320 megawatts of LNG, 74 megawatts of waste to energy, hydro and or biomass.
The Energy Minister says Cabinet has also approved the new members for the Generation Procurement Entity, GPE, within her ministry. The GPE was established under the Electricity Act 2015 and has a mandate to see to the procurement of electricity generation capacity for the sector.
It is my hope that coming out of this meeting, we can improve the monitoring and examine the timelines with a view to accelerating the pace of implementation.
And finally, government has increased the fleet of vehicles available to transport public sector workers to and from work. On Friday, 3 2020 Hyundai 50-seater buses were officially handed over to the Government Employees Transportation System. Minister of Finance and the Public Service Dr. Nigel Clark says this is part of improving the delivery of public service by taking care of those who make up the cohort.
The public sector is the backbone of the Jamaican society. Without a public sector, we could not have the delivery of public services on which everything else is built. So I take the public sector very seriously, and I want to ensure that within the resource envelope of the government of Jamaica, we do what we can to make the lives of public sector workers easier.
The 3 buses add to a fleet of 14 which transport public sector workers throughout the Kingston metropolitan region. The Government Employees Transportation System currently operates on 12 routes, and the addition of these 3 buses is expected to increase ridership capacity. Minister Clark says other buses will be added to the fleet in due course as the ministry seeks to ensure public sector employees can get to work on time. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.